President Barack Obama will be tough to beat for any GOP nominee in 2012, if you believe the polls. But with a slew of candidates ready to fight his re-election, what will be the key for conservatives in the next race?
Our next guest says it all starts with Generation Next, a group of young Americans who can revitalize the Republican Party. Joining us right now is the great-granddaughter of President Herbert Hoover, and author of a brand new book called American Individualism, Margaret Hoover. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Great to see you.
Okay, so the idea of the new book is you've got to go out there and you've got to connect with the young people, or else the Republican Party is toast.
We have got to connect with the next generation. So the next generation of millennials, they were born at the beginning of the Reagan presidency, at the end of the Clinton presidency, and there are 50 million of them that were able to vote in 2008. Half of them showed up. They made all the difference for Barack Obama. Partisan identity solidifies after 3 presidential election cycles. They voted for John Kerry. They voted for Barack Obama. So we've got 16 months as Republicans to make inroads before they become independents or Democrats for the rest of their lives.
What is the Republican Party doing wrong in your mind that they're not getting these millennials?
Well, I think what we could do right is we're pursuing all the right answers. They are 37% unemployed and underemployed right now. They are suffering more from this recession than any other demographic group. So we're litigating the right issues. I think what we need to do is connect the dots to this generation. Every dollar Barack Obama spends in this administration is a dollar millennials are going to have to pay back. This is generational theft. This affects them and their fiscal future.
Now, we watched Rudy Giuliani make a statement on Sunday in New Hampshire saying what Republicans got to do is stay out of the bedroom. I don't, he's against same-sex marriage, but the decision's been made, leave it to the states. That you looked at a similar situation in your book, correct?
Yes, and here's what I say. Conservatives, I'm with Ronald Reagan 100% of the way. Ronald Reagan, by the way, won the youth vote. In the first time around, brought an entire generation into the Republican Party. So people who say we can't get the youth vote, just look at our best history, Ronald Reagan. He won it by 20 points in 1984. Ronald Reagan also said, my 80% ally is not my 20% enemy. So the Republican Party cannot stay in a circular firing squad if we're all not on the same page on 1 or 2 social issues. This election is about fiscal issues. It's about getting our fiscal house in order, taxes, jobs, and national security.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about your great-grandfather, Herbert Hoover, the President of the United States. He is famously known as being the guy who was at the helm when the Great Depression started.
That's correct. He was president when the stock market crashed. He was probably the first example in 20th century history of the politics of personal destruction. And
because as soon as the crash happened, the first thing he did as president was he cut taxes.
And he was the most active president. The New York Times actually said at the end of 1930, nobody could have done more to blunt the effects of the Depression, and none of his successors would have done better.
And the truth is, about his background, he's a tremendous success story. He's an orphan. He worked his way up, became a millionaire by 40, and saved more lives than maybe anybody else in history.
Thank you so much for saying that. He was a great humanitarian. He was the master of emergencies. He was the innovator of the modern NGO. You're exactly right. He, through famine relief, saved more humans than any other person in history that we can account for. So I appreciate you helping me to write his legacy.
But it's interesting. You told us in the commercial one of the reasons why he is tagged with, causing the Depression is...
Well, it was behooved FDR. When FDR got into office, the economy slumped again. In 1936, 1937, the economy was worse than it was under the Hoover years. FDR needed to blame his predecessor in order to stay in office. And we see this today, do we not? See these rhythms echoing today? Blame Bush for everything we got going on now.
Well, you talk about all of this and more in your new book, American Individualism. Margaret Hoover, always great to see you.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
Congratulations.